All right, let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Democrats have a major problem on their hands that they're not willing to admit because all year we've been watching these far left candidates run around telling everybody that this is what the working class wants. Socialism is popular, defund the police was misunderstood, abolish ICE isn't radical, and that supposedly their movement represents ordinary working class people. Okay. Then a non-deep blue state, Michigan, actually voted. And then Abdul the communist Democrat candidate, won the Democratic nomination. But somebody needs to look underneath that headline because this man escaped that primary by less than 1 percentage point. We're talking about roughly 15,000 votes out of more than 1.5 million ballots counted against a weak, not as far left Democrat establishment candidate. And so now suddenly he's attempting to sprint towards the center to present himself as this more moderate, less radical Democrat that just happened to align himself with Hasan Piker, who used the excuse of if you don't vote for this guy, you're just some raging Islamophobic. And Syed wants to try and downplay this and dodge these things and use it to his advantage to make himself out to look like the victim. I mean, yeah, it's all really quite fascinating to watch this shift, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to break it all down. But first, let me know if you are enjoying the content. You can smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way you can tell me. Subscribe to stay locked in with the future content. And shout out to everybody who watches to the end and let me know what you think down in the comments. Appreciate every single one of you. And so let's go through this piece by piece, ladies and gentlemen, and start right here where Abdul he's being interviewed. This is just a few days after he won the Democratic nomination. And just listen to the excuses and the mental word gymnastics this guy tries to use in order to rationalize him having someone like a Hasan Piker who, yes, said America deserved 9/11 as just one of the many far left radical things that this guy spews. But for Abdul that's no big deal, no biggie. As far as things go, it's all right to have someone like that in your corner, backing you, promoting you, pushing you, being a political mouthpiece that helped you get to this point in the race where now you're actually contending. And so take a listen to this.
Because you appear with somebody doesn't mean you agree with them on everything. Think about this. You have the president on the show all the time. He talks about grabbing people by parts of their bodies. I don't think you would ever consider. And that doesn't mean that you wouldn't appear with him. My question to you is, when did we start bending to cancel culture? When did we start saying that cancel culture was okay? Because clearly on your show, you have a number of people who you don't agree with, including me. And I think it's important for all of us who want to win votes, who want to build America, to go and talk to anyone, anywhere.
And we only have limited time, so I don't want to cut you off. But I'm talking about someone standing with the #1 state sponsor of terror. I'm talking about condemning the worst attack on America. And if you want to vote in a country where we consider this event brought us to our knees, I'm talking about speaking to moral clarity specifically about that. I'm happy to have you on to talk about the President of the United States any other time, but would you speak to what he said about,
I just think
excuse me,
it's important.
Will you speak to what he said about 9/11 and October the 7th?
Well, it's important to talk about context. I'm never going to agree that 9/11 was justified. It was wrong. It was a horrible day for all of us. I'm never going to be okay with the innocent murder of civilians. I condemned Hamas and I condemned that attack on day one. The issue that you're trying to do is paint me out of context quotes, with out of context quotes taken out of context specifically to ask me these questions. And I'm going to play the same game with you. Why is it that you will not condemn the fact that the President of the United States talked about grabbing people by their body parts? And I would argue that it's all part of the same cancel culture game that we should not be playing. So I'm talking to your audience today because I think it's important to have a conversation that matters about the issues that matter today.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's not on the ballot, and that was litigated in 2016, and the American people re-elected him again.
Okay, and so talk about the logic that this guy is trying to use, ladies and gentlemen. Understand what he's trying to sell you. This is the mind of this person who must think that we're just all idiots, and we'll believe it. He's trying to sell you on this idea that the same way a sitting president sits down with a cable news network, any of them, I guess, it doesn't matter. I mean, he used Fox News, but it can be any cable news network. Same way a news network chooses to do that is the same as him having Hasan Piker in his corner as a campaign spokesman, ladies and gentlemen. Someone who is a literal mouthpiece promoting and pushing and saying, hey, this is the guy you need to vote for. If you don't vote for him, you're an Islamic phobic racist. Yeah, same thing. ladies and gentlemen. Make it make sense. I mean, really, he's right there. He's right alongside you every step of the way. He wants to make that apples to apples. I mean, these people are sick, deranged, delusional, and dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. Really. And to really prove my point, take a listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. This is Abdul El-Sayed and his campaign spokesman, Hasan Piker, speaking, calling for Marxist-Leninist discipline and punishment for El-Sayed detractors. He's talking about Democrats who don't want to vote for El-Sayed, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen to this. This is absolutely insane. Hasan Piker calls for Democrats who refuse to fall in line behind Abdul El-Sayed to be punished, demanding that they follow the party line. And so I want you to take a listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
Notice how whenever someone comes out and says, yeah, that's actually a bad association, immediately it's weaponized by the Republicans. This is why you can't. This is why you have to have discipline. This is why you have to abide by the party line. Okay? You can't be out here doing that. You can't be out here saying like, oh, I'm a centrist Democrat and I think Abdul is a bridge too far. That must be punished. Okay? If there's one Marxist-Leninist doctrine that the Democratic Party should deploy, it's that. Okay? Follow the party line. Sure, we'll have robust democracy, a robust democratic back and forth internally within the party. But once that's over, once the winner is declared, no more factionalism. It's over. Abide by the party line.
Yeah, and so he's calling for party unity, and if you don't, then you should be handled appropriately, that sort of thing. And right on time, someone took the time to point out his hypocrisy and the fact that he's not even practicing something that he preaches himself. And you have this gentleman right here comes out and says, my brother in Christ, this is a quote from you in 2025, after you refused to endorse Harris. Anyone who told you Kamala Harris would do anything differently is a delusional moron. Do not listen to them. And while this is no ringing endorsement, obviously, for Kamala Harris, it goes to point out the fact that, you know, this guy's a freaking hypocrite. But take a listen.
But they would do the exact same thing. Democrats, if they were in charge right now, would be doing 100% the exact same thing. 1-to-1. Make no fucking mistake. Anyone who tries to tell you that Kamala Harris will be different is a fucking delusional moron. Do not listen to them.
Yeah, and so there you have that. But let's get back to what I was talking about from the very beginning of this video, which is you have these far left candidates. They are attempting to sprint back towards the center now to make themselves seem more moderate, ladies and gentlemen, because they realize that everyone isn't brainwashed by the things that they're saying. And so it might make sense for them to try and sound a little bit more moderate and deceive the people long enough to get elected, at least, right? And so now what you have is you got people like this guy, Hasan Piker, who's attempting to come out and sanitize his language behind the whole 9/11 comments, while at the same time try and Jedi mind trick people into believing now that, as you take a listen to this, bringing up his comment saying America deserved 9/11 is somehow racist. That's what he's saying, ladies and gentlemen, and is being weaponized to make Muslims look bad. Yeah, take a listen.
At some point, we got to realize like this 9/11 stuff is just only being weaponized as a way to make Muslims and Muslim candidates look bad. Like it's a permission structure for Islamophobia. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. It's so ridiculous. It's so racist.
Yeah, and so right on time, ladies and gentlemen, right out of the Democratic playbook, things that they said, you're racist for pointing them out. Now, I mean, one could argue that you just could have not said it. Or one could even argue that immediately after saying it and realizing that you probably went a step too far, that you could come out being apologetic, sincerely apologetic about it. But no. You decide to double down. You decide to lean on those words and not back down from anyone who actually says, you know, maybe that's a line too far. But now, ladies and gentlemen, get a load of this because now, like I said, this is his spokesman. This is the guy who he's backing as far as Abdul El Sayed. He's backing this guy. And so now he wants to come out and recently, as this was on August 6th, posted to his account where he puts up apologizing or the remnants in the language is very iffy, ladies and gentlemen. So just listen to the language. Take a listen to this. This is unbelievably disingenuous. I personally apologize for the words that I used back in 2019. Every candidate I've appeared alongside has done this. We all know this is a cynical way to justify associating the first Muslim Senate candidate with Islamic-style terrorists. And so everybody's probably experienced or seen this before, where someone gives a half-ass apology that's really not actually an apology for their actions. It's just an apology because of the word choice that they decided to use, exactly what he said, the words that he used, not actually apologizing about, just saying something because it was wrong to say, the words he used. So it's not even a sincere apology in that instance, but then right on time to then back it up by saying, and the reason why you guys are still holding it against me is because you guys are the ones who are the racists and have something against the first Muslim Senate candidate. I mean, give me a break. All right, and so then you have that. And so now let's get back to Abdul El Sayed and listen to what he has to say after he was questioned on, will you continue to campaign with Hasan Piker, and just listen to like I said, the word jujitsu that this guy uses in order to dodge and avoid actually answering the question, instead working his way around it. And so, I mean, just take a listen to this.
Do you intend to continue to campaign with Hasan Piker?
I'm focused on campaigning in this state, all over the state. I'm not as focused on who I'm campaigning with. I'm focused on who I'm campaigning for, which is the 10 million people in the state, reaching out to them in their communities like I have for the past 15 months.
I mean, this guy's an absolute dirtbag, ladies and gentlemen. And the reality is that he's going to use deception and manipulation in order to try and win this election going on in Michigan for the Senate. That's what it is. That's what it is. This has nothing to do with how actually him being honest or forthcoming. And that's what really bothers me about people like this, is that they try and present themselves as something that they are clearly not. And I guess what really bothers me about it is that people actually fall for it. I mean, at least in the Democrat Party right now, they're falling for this type of stuff, which is amazing. It's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing to sit back and watch, really is. And it makes sense why this guy sucks when it comes to actually being relatable and resonating with the working class, blue-collar workers, the black community, as far as things go, the so-called individuals, people who they claim that they are working for and representing, fighting for, the working class. That's their whole shtick, right? It turns out that those individuals, those groups could smell, at least when it comes to this, they could smell the BS a mile away, and they're not falling for it hook, line, and sinker like these so-called educated, affluent white liberals who are brainwashed easily into believing that this guy actually stands for something. Listen, my hope, not gonna hold my breath, but for the black community, I'm hoping when it comes to the black community that at minimum, that while I'm not expecting a leap of jumping to the Republicans and voting for Mike Rogers, I mean, hey, just stay home. Don't show up at the polls. Don't give your vote to this guy. Don't back this guy as far as things go. That'll be enough. Like I said, I'd be asking too much if I expected the black community to come out and say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and in droves, we're going to vote for the Republican candidate. I'm realistic. They're not doing that right now. But at least if they were staying home, that'd be, at least enough as far as in this instance to make sure that this guy doesn't win. I mean, take a listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, as far as where he stands right now. Check it out.
How do Democratic chances look now in Michigan now that we know that El Sayed is the nominee?
Once El Sayed became the favorite for that nomination, and now that he's actually become the nominee, Democratic chances have fallen dramatically. Okay, counties El Sayed won in the primary. 0 of 15. 0 of 15 with the lowest share of college degrees. Ergo, he did not win in those working class areas. Where he did win, he won 13 of the 15 counties with the highest share of college degrees. So you're thinking about Democrats having real trouble amongst the working class. El Sayed support came dramatically from those areas. In fact, not where there is working class folks, but where there are highly educated folks, more from elite circles than from the working class circles. And I think there's real worries among Democrats. Will that transfer over to the general election and El Sayed continue to have the problems that prior Democrats have had with the working class?
You think that's not the only worry the Democrats should have here?
No, it's not the only worry, because, I mean, the polling estimated El Sayed's primary margin by about 10 points. And I think there's a real question, will that happen in the general election again? Because the general election polling is quite tight. And what we know in Michigan is the candidate of the college degrees tend to be overestimated. Will that happen with El Sayed? Maybe, but I think it's just another worry in why this race has closed dramatically and the folks who are trying to handicap it.
Super interesting, Harry. Thank you.
Yeah, and so this guy, Abdul El Sayed, you know, he's attempting to make himself be perceived as more moderate now. And a part of that, as we've kind of seen throughout this entire video, has been him separating himself in some way away from Hasan Piker and the radical things that he stands for. And let's not get it mistaken, ladies and gentlemen. Abdul El Sayed, he stands for those same things also. He just does not want to be aligned with them right now, but not enough to completely disavow a Hasan Piker. And so he finds himself in this position where he's kind of doing it, but not completely, trying to dodge the questions and concerns around this entire issue and make it seem like, hey, it's no big deal. Hey, when are we going to get rid of cancel culture? You know, I thought we moved past that. Trying to use all of these, you know, liberal Jedi mind tricks that really don't work against anybody but deranged liberals who are already brainwashed to believe anything anyway. Which brings us to this, ladies and gentlemen, where you have a former DNC vice chair, David Hogg, one of these young far-left socialist progressives who, I mean, listen, they think there's no room for moderates in the Democrat Party now. You know, we already seen the numbers. I mean, Abdul El Sayed barely won the Michigan primary. If Michigan was a number of other states where it was required for you to have 50% of the vote, I mean, they would be going to a runoff, but that's not how they do it in Michigan. And instead, he's going to be able to run against Mike Rogers. But I mean, take a listen to this as this guy says when asked about what would you say to the moderates in your party, and he responds with, they don't have the right values. That just tells you how far off the cliff these people really are. Check this out.
There's been an argument that they need to moderate or concern over what that's going to look like should they succeed, or that they may not succeed, that they might be defeated by Republicans despite them not doing well in the polling either. What would you say to the moderates in your party who feel that way?
I would say to the moderates in our party, you need to figure out how to actually offer something new to voters that isn't just the same message that you gave them in 2024. Increasingly, the reason why the establishment of our party is being defeated over and over and over again is it's because they don't have the right values that are aligned with not just the Democratic base, but the American people, where people are sick and tired of listening to Democrats who tell them all the reasons why they can't solve their problems. If you can't solve our problems, you shouldn't be running for office. We need people who actually sound at a minimum and genuinely believe what they are saying.
Yeah, and so there you have that. His solution is, let's go further left. That's where this country needs to go. We need to move further to the left, become more radical, more social programs, more government, get rid of ICE, get rid of the police, abolish the Senate. I mean, we've gone over all of this. I took you to the platform, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the DSA platform and what they stand for. I mean, these people are dangerous, and we will wait and see exactly what's going to happen come November. But hopefully, I mean, Republicans turn out in droves to make sure that these people do not get elected. Ladies and gentlemen, that is very much necessary. Stand up to these individuals, fight, and don't let them take control of this country. Don't allow it for 1 second. Those are my thoughts in the update. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. I appreciate when you guys chime in. Don't forget, you enjoy the content. smash that thumbs up button. That's the best way to tell me. Subscribe to stay locked in with the future videos. And as always, until next time.